In 2012, there was this guy named David Villalobos, and he climbed over the side of the Bronx Zoo monorail, and he dropped 17 feet into the den of a 400-pound tiger. He said he wanted to be one with the tiger, and it mauled him and it dragged him by his ankle, and a bunch of firefighters had to drive it off with hoses and drag him out. So the first thing that he told the police when he got out of it was how excited he was that he got to pet it. And if any single thing should break a person or traumatize them, leave them haunted and afraid of the world, a 400-pound tiger mauling you probably would be up there, right? Now, it probably didn't mess this guy up any more than he was already messed up. So he likely walked away, I won't say with his mind whole, but with his mind in a similar condition as when he started. But that probably wouldn't have been the case if instead of a tiger, it was a dog, and instead of David being however old he was, 20-something, he was like 4. Probably would have traumatized him. Or you take something that's a lot more normal, unfortunately, like betrayal from someone you love. So no claws, no mauling, no gaping wounds. But if you've known a person for years and you get betrayed, then that can cause havoc for years. So why do some wounds break the mind and others, even worse ones to your body, barely leave a mark? The answer is that there's this specific mind program. And once you see it, I think all of this is going to make a lot more sense. So my name is Joshua Tanner. I'm a Stanford-trained medical doctor, and I use AI to secure and upgrade the human mind. And in the next few minutes, I want to explain exactly why this happens and how your mind creates a quarantine zone, and then ultimately how to get out of it. All backed by science. Let me show you. Now let's go back to a couple of those examples. There's David that we talked about in the beginning with his tiger mauling, and then there's a betrayal that comes out of the blue from someone you love. The real difference between these two that I'd like to underline is that one was expected. David probably knew what was going to happen by jumping into that cage with the tiger, whereas somebody that experiences a betrayal, or could be another animal attacks you, sort of like the tiger, but you can't anticipate it, like a kid with a dog. Those are unexpected. So why is it so much worse if something's unexpected? Well, think about it from your mind's perspective, right? It has an understanding of the world, and some things are dangerous and some things are not. And if you experience some kind of great harm and your mind completely is taken by surprise, then what choice does it have? It's certainly going to label that thing, whatever it is, as dangerous. But if it doesn't know why, then what it ends up doing is it takes a big step back and it ends up labeling everything like it as dangerous as well. It essentially quarantines that whole area and it makes the whole thing dangerous for you. So if you had that dog attack when you were 3 or 4 years old, instead of that dog being dangerous, now it's all dogs are dangerous. If you are betrayed by somebody, it's not just that person is dangerous, it's maybe all people or all men or all women are dangerous. Now this can feel like a life sentence. It can feel like there's a whole section of the world that is essentially shut off to you. It's terrible. And some people will defend this actually. And you'll hear this especially when it comes to people. When people say, oh, all women are such and such a way, or all men are such and such a way, or all whatever. They tend to group it all and they'll even defend it, not recognizing that this was actually a defense mechanism that their mind created. It's really not up to them. So the way out of this is really important. The way out is to understand what it was about that thing that made it dangerous in the first place. In other words, you need to convince that mind program that the good reasons why it really was just that thing or that person and not the whole group. So I've experienced this before. I had a pretty rough childhood growing up, and lots of people that have rough childhoods growing up, they have issues around trust because, when you're that young and something like that happens, you end up labeling everything or maybe even closeness, like anybody that comes close, as being dangerous. And so it's pretty common, unfortunately. But the way out of it is to realize what was it about that original threat that really was dangerous. And so if you're looking at it from a partner perspective, there were probably some red flags that you didn't recognize, maybe your friends did. And now what you need to do is you need to educate yourself and learn. And you need to understand what those red flags were. Because once you can do that, then you can isolate the danger to that one person or even type of person, right? People that give off these red flags, that's danger, rather than the whole group of people being dangerous. So it does take a bit of work. And once you recognize it, then the next step is you actually have to kind of do the scary thing and try trusting again. So it's two things. You got to recognize why that thing was a threat in the first place. And then the most important one is you actually then need to try trusting somebody else, or go give a dog a hug, right? As scary as that might be for somebody that's dealing with this.